This production is brought to you by the Stephen Colbert Super PAC, making a better tomorrow, tomorrow.
I am the innocent Boulevard.
Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor by air.
Ask not what your country can do.
Kennedy has been shot.
Where these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Hello America, I'm Peter Jennings, and welcome to the decade, or a few decades. In the next 8 minutes and 57 seconds plus credits, we will delve into the culmination of decades that composed and created modern-day America. You will be barraged by seemingly unrelated and random images, but I assure you will emerge a better informed and generally more patriotic American. The United States was founded on 3 basic ideals: life, liberty, and the pursuit of social Darwinism. These ideals were introduced to some degree by North America's first European settlers in Jamestown and Chesapeake Bay. Although from the get-go, the settlers had their fair share of problems.
Let's see, dysentery and poor living conditions, bad place.
A typical day in early Jamestown consisted of fruitless gold hunting, death by disease, and Indian conflict. However, in the mid-1600s, with the introduction of tobacco in the Chesapeake region, allowed for the growth and development of the plantation system. The 7 Years' War in Europe set the stage for the French and Indian War in America. This in turn instigated what became known as the American Revolution. Britain's Quartering Act mandated the residence of British redcoats in American homes. Britain's taxation without representation incited the Boston Massacre, a not-so-tragic incident which leftists and other unstable politicians have exaggerated over the years.
How many people died in the Boston Massacre?
Oh my goodness.
It's 14, isn't it? 100,000.
It was definitely a million, right?
Okay, is it a rough estimate?
Just a rough estimate.
Boston Massacre. 180.
The Civil War started in 1826. So the Civil War was a war.
With the newly formed and ever-expanding America in a state of turmoil, the South seceded from the Union, and with the first shots fired at Fort Sumter, the Civil War had begun.
Slavery was abolished. What were the North's advantages going into the Civil War?
They had the capital. They had that's right. More people. They had more people. They had the industrial. They had liberty and justice.
A still devastated America was pressured into the First World War as a result of the Zimmerman Note and other, what's the word I'm looking for?
Nefarious?
Yes, nefarious acts on the part of Germany.
2 that I'm aware of is phosgene, which also is used like as an insecticide, so it's probably a neuro-type toxin. Pretty bad. Don't have any. And chlorine gas, which is just this obnoxious, vicious chemical that we just use in swimming pools and in World War I.
Really quick, I think that there's a shortage of females in this video, and I would like to say women's rights, 19th Amendment, we can vote now, and Title IX, so don't say anything, Austin.
World War II was bad. Lots of people died.
The energy released in a small mass of an atom, if it undergoes a nuclear change, is humongous compared to breaking chemical bonds. So when you tamper with the nucleus, if it can liberate that energy, it's orders of magnitude more powerful. It's pretty grim. And then there's also the other effects of radiation, poisoning, and the death and destruction from intense radiation. So it's not only the heat, but the other effects as well.
After the Second World War, social volatility sprang forward on the American home front. In the epic Supreme Court case in 1951, Wonka Factory vs. Oompa Loompas, the employee-employer relationship was put to the ultimate test. Camera 2. In the decade that followed, America did its best to infuse money into the virtually destroyed continent of Europe. Camera 3. The Vietnam War was unarguably a vital engagement, essential to the hindrance of the rapid communist expansion. Camera 4. The Vietnam and Korean Wars were sub-wars in the larger, more idealistic battle against communism, also known as the Cold War. Camera 5. We don't have anything to say here, we just want to show off that we have another camera.
I made a lot of money.
The supply-siders would like to argue that if you cut taxes and encourage supply, that will trickle down to all facets of the economy and social life. It's supposed to be the job creators. And those job creators tend to take those tax cuts and reinvest them and make more money off those tax cuts.
I made a lot of money.
And that never really trickles down to the other parts of the social ladder. Furthermore, tax cuts, George W. Bush's tax cuts, added to our national debt. And so what that did was it enlarged our national debt while at the same time creating a socioeconomic difference between all classes.
I made a lot of money.
Clinton on a roll. Monica Lewinsky stole. Record black as coal. Trollololol.
With the turn of the 201st decade, America was led fearlessly by the Bush duo in a headlong charge against terror. Who terror is remains to be seen, but based on America's military actions, one can only assume that he lives somewhere in the Middle East. America's war on terror is eerily reminiscent of its war on communism, as it is trying to destroy an idea. Following in Bush's brave footsteps were the brilliant political minds of Sarah Palin, Mitt Romney, and Rush Limbaugh.
Sarah Palin.
Oh, she's incredibly intelligent. She's from Alaska. She understands teen pregnancy because her daughter had it. Let's see, what else? She does have a dirty librarian look.
I admire her. People have tried to destroy her. She's got more of a backbone than any man in the Democrat Party.
He just said he admires her backbone. Continuing Ms. Gangel's word association game, George W. Bush.
He's just the most decent, down-to-earth, real man you could ever hope to meet.
Well, you could ever hope to meet.
In short, George W. Bush, great president or the greatest president? The greatest.
I'm going to have to default to he was a great president.
And so our journey through time arrives at the present day. Thank you for watching The Decade, and we'll see you again in 10 years.
Do you agree or disagree with the passage of the 28th Amendment?
True.
How has American literature of the 21st century affected the notion of the American dream?
Where'd you come up with these? Nice question. I don't think it has. I think the American dream has died a long time ago.
What do you think the American dream is?
I think it's to westward expansion.
Civil War.